For now, though, are the world's elite secretly planning the future of our planet? Politicians, bankers, business leaders known as the Bilderberg Group are gathering under extremely tight security in the Austrian Alps. RT's Peter Oliver got as close as he could to the clandestine event.
Well, security is extremely tight ahead of this year's meeting of the Bilderberg Group. Just here, this is the checkpoint leading up to the hotel where the meeting is taking place. This is roughly about as close as I can get just across this road. While there's absolutely no access whatsoever to the hotel right now, I was able to speak to a man who got in there before the security net fell. Luke, you were inside the hotel. What is it like in there?
It was like The Shining. It was like the haunted house on the hill. It was like this amazing luxury, this amazing kind of decadent crap that you don't really need. But then everyone in the staff and everyone in the security was running around miserable. They were so just anxious and depressed. It was really just a surreal feeling to be in there. And you could just feel the kind of anxiety, that kind of energy in the air. And it wasn't good in any way, shape, or form.
What was it like in terms of security?
Security in the hotel was extremely tight. I mean, they were on us as soon as we got out of the hotel room. We were interrogated. We went through background checks. They took our passports. They asked us from what we ate in the morning to what our next plans are in the next 10 years. So it was really, really intense. It's even more extreme outside with journalists being interrogated. We're being harassed. We're being followed. People are being taken back to their rooms and warned of huge fines for even just being in this area. So it's insane.
What is it about the Bilderberg Group? Why does it draw so much intrigue and so much attention?
Obviously, you have the world's most powerful and influential people coming here in secret, using public funds for security, meanwhile doing extremely secretive stuff. When we were talking about when the IMF and the World Bank and NATO and Goldman Sachs and Facebook and Google all come together, what do you think they're going to be conspiring together? What do you think they're going to be doing? Obviously, if they were doing something good, they would be bloating about it because it would be great PR. They're not. It's top secret. We don't know. We can't speculate, but it's not good.
It's all very quiet and picturesque here right now, but there are large demonstrations against the secretive nature of these talks planned for Saturday, and I'll bring you all of the action from those protests here on RT International.
And RT's Anissa Nawe has the who's who of this year's Bilderberg gathering.
Here is the guest list. The head of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, Henry Kissinger, Mr. I leaked CIA secrets to my girlfriend, David Petraeus, just to name a few. Here's a few more. John Allen, who heads U.S. efforts against ISIS, George Osborne, and Jose Manuel Barroso are also there. A lot of media representatives, including BBC and Bloomberg, banks, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, and executives from Google and Royal Dutch Shell. A tight tangle of politics, media, and corporations, protected by high fences and an army of policemen. But there's another army on the other side of that fence, an army of information-hungry journalists. Paul Joseph Watson is one of them, and he joins us in the Now. Paul, tell us, what do we know so far about this year's get-together?
Well, the agenda that we've got so far from leaks and what actual Bilderberg members themselves are saying is that they're talking about this war on cash, moving towards an abolition of cash and more capital controls on consumers.
Paul, it's not even a secret anymore. I mean, we know the location, the delegates, the agenda. Why not just make this an open summit of the elite, the rich, the corporations, and give us a little hint of the outcome?
Well, because they're dead set on secrecy. I mean, they've got a huge perimeter zone. If you venture into it, it's a €500 fine, possibly 2 weeks in prison. Why is that? Again, because this is where the real consensus for global policy is set. This is not the G7. The G7 is a puppet show for the consumption of the public and mass mainstream media journalists. So they're so desperate to keep their agenda secret, which again underscores, and we've had leaks in the past, and in fact Bilderberg members bragging about how they created the euro. So again, it illustrates how this is the real center of power. This is where the real decisions get made, and that's why they don't want any information leaking out of the conference.
It's at 12:10 p.m. here in Moscow. Controversial footage has been released in France showing a 39-year-old man who has been in a vegetative state in a hospital for 7 years. Campaigners are fighting for the life of Vincent Lambert after the European Court of Human Rights ruled that his life support should be switched off.
Très fortement avec son frère. Il y a beaucoup d'interactions entre eux. Un regard soutenu.
Ne t'inquiète pas, allez, je t'embrasse très très fort et je te tiens dans les bras. À bientôt maintenant.
Campaigners say that Vincent is clearly responding to voices with facial expressions. But critics believe the clip is meaningless, and the fact that he is moving his eyes and changing expressions doesn't mean that he is conscious.
In the state Vincent Lambert is in is a 7 years permanent vegetative state, and actually the treatment, medical treatment, is considered to be futile in my opinion. No, I think if someone like he is in such a state for 7 years without much improvement, I don't think it is sensible to give him more treatment or to expect that he will be better.
However, along with activists and a number of relatives who are also divided on the issue, the family lawyer says that Vincent shows brain activity and it's not lawful to end his life.
To this day, we have absolutely no proof to the state of conscience on Vincent Lambert, and this absence of proof does not constitute evidence to the lack of conscience. No one knows what he thinks nor what he feels. The possible development of Vincent's condition, in my opinion, is not lawful criteria to decide the question of whether his life should be maintained or not. I agree when the patient is in really bad condition and maintaining him alive is equal to suffering. But is it lawful to switch off the patient from his source of life maintenance?
Well, there's also been a heated debate over the court decision on social media, with some saying Vincent Lambert should be left in peace after so many years of suffering. Others also approved the ruling of the court, calling the decision just and humane, although many dismissed the move, saying it's disgusting, and calling not to let the patient die from hunger and thirst when the life support is switched off. All right, still ahead for you here on RT International, a notorious migrant removal centre in the UK improving living conditions. In a couple of minutes, we see if they are indeed changing the lives of the inmates for the better.